Calls meeting to order, roll call.
Ms. Mokel?
Here.
Mrs. Darrow?
Here.
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Erkins?
Here.
Mr. Rastegar?
Here.
Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
Actually, yes. Item D under other business will not be needed. We were actually able to get what the title company needed from a certificate of board action. So we thought that in case that did not meet what their requirements would be to close on the 9th and V Street property, which would be Mardi Gras. But we did get the certificate of board action completed and the title company accepted that as is. So we will not need item D under other things.
All right, item D. Do we need to vote on that, Mike, or do we need to vote on striking D?
No.
Okay.
Nope, you just, when you get there, you just.
Okay.
Go by it. Yeah, you're fine.
With that, I entertain a motion to the approval of minutes from June.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And you should have all received these prior to.
But we're going to start sending those with the ED report, so you'll have plenty of time to review each month going forward. So.
All right. Monthly activity and financial report, Cody and Stephanie.
Madam Chair, directors of the board, excited. We've got a full slate here with updates from some of the team members, and I'm excited to hear from them because they do great work, and I want you guys to be able to hear what they do for us each and every day of their jobs to continue to move the organization forward. With that, I'll start with the executive director report. Number of events by month. It'll be a little shorter, this report in particular, when I get into the operation, food and beverage updates, because I'm going to leave those to Julie because she'll get into an in-depth report there. But as you're looking at the total number of events by month, again, June was a little bit of a slower month this year compared to the prior years. But again, a strong convention month in particular with 7 conventions, 5 different meetings, and then 5 banquets. So a good mix of events there. But again, a little bit of a drop off on the total number of events. Revenues were closer to where they were back in like 23. But again, it was a strong month overall. And just the average of summers in Boise Center, we try to do the best we can, but we get a lot of projects done when we have the empty dates as well. On the attendance side, June's attendance came in about 6,200, a little over that. We had forecasted about 9,000. I went back and kind of looked at some of that and just smaller numbers coming in and a couple of events that didn't come through or were moved off of the month into another month. In particular, St. Luke's Health Systems came in at 932 as the top attendance event. And then Association of Idaho Cities at 869. Looking back at those both numbers were up higher last year. So again, some of those forecast attendance numbers were just due to some of those events being a little smaller than they were prior year and a couple other events sliding over. Overall guest satisfaction, continue to be very, very impressed by our scores here from the team. And I'm very excited that Julie will get a chance to show you kind of the underneath all of this because each department has a score as well into their services. And so Julie will get into that. But again, we've seen 52 5s and only 5 4s this year. No 3s or no 2s or no 1s, so knock on wood, but averaging a 4.91 with 57 responses. Again, the market strategy on the sales team continues to do an outstanding job of pacing. Where we're at is about 8 months through the year at this point in time. So again, progress to date, future booked revenue sitting about 4.3 million, which is 88% of the goal. And we're about 66% of the month or year through, which is a great metric to see. Future booked economic impact at 91% of the goal at 17.2 million. Future booked room nights. And again, this is for years into the future. So not just for next year or not just this year. Future booked room nights at 30,302 and at 92% of the goal. So the team is well on pace to meeting their goals. Northwest Public Power Association contracted for May of 2027, again estimated at 790 room nights, 392,000 in economic impact. And then we've got a couple other industry related events coming up with Visit Boise and us helping on a couple of these, but Visit Boise's Summer Fam between July 29th through the 31st. I know several board members have RSVP'd to be part of that. So thank you. And we'd love to see board support and activation in those events when we can get you involved. And then the Customer Advisory Board happening between September 20th and the 22nd. Really good numbers there. And again, these are just the metrics to kind of show you how we're pacing, but again, pacing well on the goals and then from prior year as well. Really doing a good job. And so just recognizing the team's efforts there. This is where I said I've got some just brief operational updates or nothing here. Just stay tuned for Julie's updates. Same thing with the food and beverage update. You're going to get a lot of information on that. Again, taking a look at Boise Center revenues, as you'll see, like I mentioned, it was closer to that 2023. When you highlight over these, it's not working. there we go. You highlight over these, you'll start seeing that June, is it coming in on June? Yeah. That's very sensitive this time. All right, so it was a 793 back in 2023, so slightly up that for 2026. But again, the number of events that we did really kind of shows that the revenue per event was actually strong, just not the same number of events as we've had in the 2 prior years. But as you look at the budget number, continues to get closer and closer to what I forecasted. We're within 0.1% of the budget on a $7.7 million forecast. We are within $8,000 of the budget, which again, better lucky than good in some of that, but we are pacing to that $13.3 million budgeted year, which is going to be a record year, and we are pacing right to that. Gross margins actually looking really strong as you go through a month like June, and in particular as we go through July, and we've had a strong convention in July, but this is where our gross profit margins usually take a little bit of a dip and then start recovering in the fourth quarter. To see it holding strong after June at 22.5, I think we're really in a good position to meet that goal and exceed that goal. So I'm excited about that and continue to be happy with the team's efforts there. Getting into the economic impact, again, year pacing wise, we're pacing extremely well to the $55 million goal. We're about 63% of the way there, and we're about 66% through the year. So again, just slightly behind, but with the fourth quarter being our strongest quarter ahead, all of that should be on pace to meet our economic impact goal for the fiscal year. Doing a little bit down again, as you'll see, just the number of events really drives that, and attendance is also another number that drives that. So nothing surprising there from the economic impact side. This is the one that continues to just, every time I open up an STR report, I get really excited about where we're headed and what the future looks like. In particular, as you'll take a look at the last 4 months, there has been something going on that is abnormal a little bit as far as the growth. So from the revenues alone, if you just take a look at June was one really strong record revenue. May, same thing, April, and then March as well for those. So some 4 months in a row at record revenues on the side, and that's not hotel tax revenues, that's total revenues within basically what we call group 1, which is a majority of the city of Boise, and then those outlier hotels that are kind of on the edge of the district, some of the ones in Garden City that capture this data. Lodging room demand, same situation here. Last 4 months, if you take a look, there's something going on that's definitely outpacing what we've seen in the past. And again, demand, as I just looked at these, and I'll get into this as I get into the next slide, but we are hitting a couple top 10, if not top 5, in a lot of our demands, our ADRs and revenues. So as I mentioned, occupancies and ADRs. This is the 3rd highest ADR on the books to date at 167, which came in at 2026. Last year was 173, which would have been the top one. And then prior to that, so again, we're seeing really high ADRs, but also it is a top 10 highest occupancy on record at 83.7. Out of the top 10, 8 of the top 10 all fall in the month of June. So June tends to be a really good month for the city of Boise for bringing in leisure travel, as well as the events that we tend to bring in. So it continues to drive that number strong.
Cody, can I ask a question on that?
Absolutely.
So if our events were a little bit lower than forecast for last month, but the demand is off the charts, what is the
correlation?
Yes.
I could probably point to Micron as being one of the biggest drivers to that. That would probably be the biggest market driver on that, I would say. Along with that, just Boise continues to do really well on the leisure side, and so I'll recognize Visit Boise's efforts, our efforts on that. So I think it's a combination of things. Again, this is a static slide. I did look at it. It is pacing right to where I forecasted. So we should see that on an average ADR, about 150. It's like just slightly below 150 right now, but the fourth quarter to come. All of those numbers should be. One of those is the occupancy percentage. I think that's going to slightly go up when I was looking at that right before the meeting today. Couple district updates here. The pavement on the aquatics facility parking lot is near completion. Like parking lot, as far as the pavement piece is completed. There's a couple of punch list items, some caulking and some patch items that I wanted to make sure on the final punch list that are being addressed. Some light poles that are being installed the first week of August. Potentially, I just got an email today that could be installed as late as August 10th, depending on how quickly they get here. We just want to avoid some activity that's taking place in early August for the tournament at the aquatic center. I was over there and got a chance to do the walk with the punch list, and the aquatic center was hosting the 2026 Speedo sectionals. They just started moving in for the day. They hadn't started the weekend yet, but it was the Friday before. And just the activation over on the site was really, really cool. I took Mary Michael with me over there and took some pictures. Now we want to share pictures next month because there's still enough construction going on that I don't think the landscaping that's going to get completed, the pictures weren't overwhelmingly, I think, what they will look like when we're done. So I want to share that to the board next month. But again, the parking lot looks outstanding. I know board chair and myself myself received an email directly from the operators thanking the district for their efforts here and just the amount of impact that it has made on that event, but on their daily operations as well. The reduction on parking needs from the neighbors. So I think everybody in the area is going to be very happy with what we decided to do there. And I'll tell you, it looks like the quality of facility that we tend to take pride in as the district. It's starting to really come outside from that other side, not looking finished. It just has the look of a district facility now. And once it's all completed, I'm excited to share those photos.
Off the top of your head, do you remember what's the acreage size of that? Is it, I found it in some old notes, it's 373.
That's
Pretty close to that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Contracts are being finalized with Paradigm for the 2 RFQ processes that the board approved for the facility test fit and the financial advisory and debt capacity. So just making sure the terms and those are being reviewed by legal. And then we're going to start that process pretty much this week or the following week and get that going. Wanted to announce to the board that our director of finance has put in a notice. And so I wanted to send out an email to the board. So she has also agreed to stay on. She's also agreed to stay on as needed through the recruitment, training, and onboarding of the new individual. I've opened the door to more remote after August 10th. So she'll be on site fully until August 10th. After that, there'd be a little bit more remote option until we get the new director of finance on, but she's committed to be on site when needed with advance notice because I don't want to take her and pull her away from what she's doing just on a last minute call. She will be several hours away from where currently Boise Center is when she moves to her new location, but has committed to make sure that whatever's needed from the district side, that the position is rolled up nicely.
So where are you moving to?
Still in Idaho,
Okay.
purchased some acreage over in Bear Lake County.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Which is ironic that my family grew up there, like
Really?
Yeah, their school is my great grandmother's house.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful country over there. It's been a long distance relationship and it's been wearing on us. And so I'm looking forward to the next chapter. This one's been very rewarding. I've enjoyed working with everybody and it's definitely been full of challenges, which you guys have learned by now that I'm pretty addicted to a challenge. Next chapter will be the challenge of sourdough bread and canning. So I'm looking forward to slowing down quite a bit.
I just want to recognize Stephanie and the team as a whole's efforts in the 2.5 years that you were here, really cleaning up things, a clean audit this year. So I think that the position is in a much better place than where she found it. The team is in a much better place than where she found it. So I just want to recognize Stephanie's efforts and the team's efforts for everything that they've done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Finalizing our due diligence periods for both Idaho Records Management. That one will probably be about August 10th for the final of that. And then Mardi Gras closes this month, actually on the 24th, as long as we can get over these last little pieces that we believe we've done today. But
Ready.
still, everything should be closed off by the 24th at that time on Mardi Gras. FY 26-27 budget, initial forecasting looking very, very strong. Another potential record revenue year. I know I shared with the board chair as we've gotten into the initial planning for next year's budgeting process inside the system right now, and intend to have, as I've mentioned to the board, how I do the budgeting process. We have all the events within the year coming up that we know are within the system, and then we usually pick up anywhere from about 30 to 40% in the year that we aren't sure. So we have to take some safe estimates based on the types and numbers of events that we're going to pick up. Within the 179 events that we have in the system to date, we have a $10.5 million forecasted revenue, and that usually comes in about 15% to 20% higher than what it's at. So now you add in another 80 to 100 events potentially, and I don't want to put the team because the space is going to be the challenge this next year. I think our number of total events will come down, but the revenue will go up. So the total average per revenue, just larger events, multiple day events. So the team continues to do really good with utilization of the facility and driving that revenue up, but also driving the size of the events up. So having a 10.5, I've never seen that number in there. So that probably will roll up to a 14, 15. I don't want to say 16, but it could be even as high as a $16 million year next year. So. Any questions for me? I move over to the financial report.
All right, this is your treasurer's report. As Cody mentioned, revenues are exceeding the budget by about 8,000 for the Boise Center District. Your revenue is about 278,000 over budget. So the 278 is really attributed, you'll see in the next a couple slides later, the hotel tax revenue being higher. So facility rental discounts, this is that room rental discount that we've changed the title of. I think it makes a lot more sense. Discounts to date, 291,000. So that I think helps with the return on investment for the economic impact dollars, just so you guys can see what we're driving, what discounts are being given to drive those, some of that in.
A lot of that
activity
is all that
in-house.
is a piece that's also the hotel side, because we're
Yeah.
competing against convention hotels, so it's that room rate discount that a lot of those markets that meeting planners are looking for outside of Boise would be something like a convention hotel where they're gonna waive that room rent, and so this gives us that competitive opportunity to get that piece of business.
Operating transfers, the subsidy year to date is just a little over 2.6. Last month, there was a transfer of just a little over $270,000.
Hey, Cody, just to make clear, when after that, you said that kind of competitive discount and whatnot, that's with other
Convention hotels, so they
other
have big
places.
ballrooms inside
Because
there.
we can't compete with people here. We're talking about where we're competing against.
Yes,
folks
correct.
in
So outside, when we're
other
competing
areas,
against markets other than Boise,
Okay,
they're looking at convention hotels that have a ballroom inside of it. And when
Right.
I say they're gonna give them the room rent, that means they're gonna give them the rental cost of that ballroom for free, because they're gonna pick up the hotel rents.
Hotel tax collections last month for June, just a little over 1.2 million. As I said, this is where a lot of that 278,000 comes from, where this is $256,000 over the 2026 year-to-date budget. Capital transfers, the year was budgeted 3.9. We have spent just about 50% of those allocated funds. There on the right side is a list of the projects that the team has on the calendar to finish, so.
Julie has a lot of updates on it.
Yeah. We can redline some of those. I know some of them have been completed. District cash position right now, just shy of 36 million. You have restricted funds of 250,000. The stabilization fund of 6 million. Your cash available for projects, 29,700,000, which you guys have done a really good job of allocating. So that's this next screen, which will show you the expansion projects and what projects have been committed to. And we have just 26 million, just shy of $27 million that has been committed but not yet paid.
An important note to that 26 is some of that is the closing of the larger parcel of the 23, which could go all the way out to 27 of August. And then the reason that we've kind of got an estimate is there's some additional financing fees and fees that we're waiting for final on closing on a couple of these properties for the exact numbers.
Yes, it's not all gone yet, and Clearwater will continue to play with those investments to where until that 23 is needed. This is the Clearwater investments screenshot of the statement, and the net income there is just a little over 92,000. Any questions, concerns, suggestions? All right.
Well, I can't believe it's been 2.5 years for some reason.
Neither
It
can I.
seems-
I
less than
don't know where
that.
it went.
We appreciate all your efforts and get everything cleaned up
Oh,
and
thanks.
the speed, and we're gonna miss having you here.
Thanks.
Appreciate you staying on for the transition.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah.
We did have updated spiral copies of the audit report for you guys, so you have those as well, because that was that front page, there was a date issue and the auditor wanted to replace that, and they did, so.
Yeah, that was a huge accomplishment. Thank you guys for that. The team, yeah, amazing.
Any questions? Nope. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wait, on to other business. You're honoring. You get to manage all the fun money before we spend it.
Yeah.
Chair, board members, good to be back. So I'll just hop into an overview of the portfolio. That's really hard to see. Apologies. It's even gonna challenge me. But really there's two things really to take away from this is one, we did a big cash raise in anticipation of the various buildings that are being purchased. We have about 75 or 81% of the portfolio sitting in cash right now. And I think that's kind of important. There's a decision to make when you shift into cash into the money market fund. You're thinking about timing that you'll need the liquidity. You think about what the market might do in that time frame, and the costs associated with all of those things. And so, you know, we kind of spoke about it with Cody and Stephanie and decided that our recommendation in that situation, once you know you're going to need the cash and there's uncertainty around the timing of the need, is really just to go ahead and raise the cash and put it in a money market fund so that it's available when you need it. So that's earning about 353 right now. And I'll show you a slide of kind of how that benefited you in this time frame. One of the big reasons we thought that that might be a good decision was because you never know what direction rates are going to go. And of course, we've seen since we've been here that they've risen pretty dramatically in that time frame. And so it had just so happens that that was a big benefit to the portfolio. And those positions would have moved into probably negative territory. And I'll show you our selling activity here in a moment. But we have about 24 million in cash in the money fund. An additional 1 million will be available by September. And then there's about, of those remaining positions, you can see in that chart in the lower left hand where it's the kind of the big column in that 0 to 3 month time frame. Those smaller columns are what's remaining in the portfolio. It's about $8 million. And I really just tried to maintain the structure of the portfolio so that once that cash was taken, if the remaining wasn't needed, that it would be pretty similar looking to the benchmark, just so it wasn't too wonky in any way. And so those positions that are currently in there are in a net loss of 21,000. It's pretty small in terms of the overall portfolio. There are still some, when you look at the positions individually, there's still some that are in a gain position, some that are kind of flat, and then some that are in a loss. And so you can still kind of work it to structure it kind of the way you need to raise more cash where, you know, realize that as little of a loss as possible is usually our main goal. When you look at these transactions, that larger middle section, those are sales. And that was all the selling activity that we did over 2 days to raise the 24 million. We started with the gains and then we knew what we could kind of work with the losses to offset that. We ended up in a net $341 gain position, which is essentially just flat. So there it's just minimizing that cost of liquidity. And you think about what does that mean in terms of a money market fund and how do you kind of gauge that difference in the cost of liquidity? Because there's a money market fund, you can get it next day. You can just go and say, I want this money, redeem it. But there's always a cost associated with that liquidity. And that next day liquidity in terms of money market funds, most of them are charging about 20 basis points fees. And also they're investing in very generic overnight securities with very low yields. And so there's both the explicit cost and the fee, and then the implicit cost and the loss of yield that you're earning over that time frame. So I think that's a good way to think of it when we look at what's remaining in the portfolio. And even if you took the entire portfolio tomorrow, based on what analytics is marking it at, which I found to be pretty accurate, especially for treasuries, it's less than 10 basis points. It's about 7 basis points. So it's kind of like just giving you an idea of what that liquidity looks like.
And after, just to remind the board, so when we extended the time period to purchase for 11th and River, they still have a 30-day window at any point. So although it goes all the way out till August of 27, it can be, you know, within any 30-day time period within that, whatever it is now, almost 11-month window or 13-month window.
I'm going to jump forward quickly past, we'll talk about the market stuff in a second, just briefly. But in the appendix, I have a performance summary, and you'll see in the year to date that it's outperformance by about 21 basis points versus that benchmark. And that really just shows you how the market's moved, which we'll go to those market slides in a second. When you shift so short in duration and then yields sell off what they have over that time frame, I think it's about 80 basis points in the 1 and 2 year space. That is positive for performance. And so the positions that were in that kind of 1 to 3 year space that you were holding would have gone further negative in terms of their market value versus kind of where you bought them. So it's kind of just like a lesson learned of good to take money when you know you need it. And with a lot of the uncertainty that we're dealing with in the marketplace, it's helpful. So any questions before I talk about kind of what's been driving the market? The yields higher. Cool. So really there's 3 main things that have been dominating the market. We know the last one because we have Micron in our backyard. There's a lot of AI optimism. It kind of goes back and forth. Sometimes people will be really bullish on AI and then at times it'll swing the other way and people will be concerned about AI, and that drives yields up and down. But predominantly, it's been the Fed's outlook that has changed kind of the yield curve, which I'll show you in a second. But Kevin Warsh took over as a Fed chairman. Jay Powell was there. He had his first meeting, and it was a hawkish surprise. He made a number of changes, which people were kind of expecting a sleepy meeting for his first meeting. But more importantly than just the changes that he made, which is really not giving as much forward guidance. So the market is somewhat flying blind. So there's going to be more volatility in the future. But the committee as a whole shifted more hawkishly, and I have a slide on that. More of them are looking at hikes by the end of this year. We're skeptical on that. But this is what the yield curve's done since the last time we met. That 1 and 2 year space, which is mostly where the portfolio was invested, moved up materially about 60 to 80 basis points. The entire curve shifted higher, and this is really because of what's going on in Iran, and then also the Fed. And the Fed is in response to Iran partially. And so Strait of Hormuz closing, the price of oil rising, and then even outside of oil, when we look at inflation metrics, core inflation metrics, which exclude food and energy, have also been on the rise. And so that's kind of gotten the market more skittish when you look at how the market's pricing that. In right around tax day, no, it doesn't feel too long ago, right? The market was pricing in cuts. And as of just a few days ago, the market was pricing in hikes. And so that's a huge shift over that time frame because of the inflation outlook and the inflation picture and the changes at the Fed. But it's not just the market's pricing, it's what the Fed's been telling us, which is that if you look at these, the darker columns are more recent summary of economic projections estimates. The Fed, more Fed members are expecting hikes. And so you see all the way back in December and March, there were basically no members on the committee looking at hiking. They were all looking at cutting. And now we're looking at multiple members with 1, 2, and 3 hikes by the end of this year. We don't think that's going to materialize. One, it's an election year, and the time frame that they would be looking to hike is basically right around the election. And if you haven't been following our politics, the president does not want hikes, and he's very vocal about it. And that's kind of what he was pressuring Jerome Powell on doing. And so there's a lot of pressure to avoid it. We got an inflation reading just last week that was a little bit better than expected. You see that it has been on the rise. Most of those lines have been moving higher except for inflation expectations. But we got a little bit of a dip, and it was better than expected this last time. That probably gives the Fed a little bit more cover to just sit on their hands, see how it materializes. They don't have to do anything right now. We're still in pretty restrictive territory in terms of where the overall Fed funds rate's at. And so, we think that even if they did hike this year, they're not going to realize the 2 hikes that the market's kind of eyeballing right now. And so that gives a little bit of comfort, a little bit more comfort about, you don't know where yields are going to go, but that gives a little more comfort on the rest of that portfolio. If you did need it, we don't expect yields to rise materially from here. And then this is just a dashboard if you all want to look at economic indicators. It just reinforces kind of what we're talking about. But any questions? Good. Great. Well, that's it for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So you're doing, needs our money, protection, and give us liquid, so we'll spend it.
Appreciate your effort.
Yeah.
Julie.
Madam Chair, members of the board, excited to talk about some Boyce Center operational updates. Just to highlight a few events for June. So we had the Kid for Night, which is the annual fundraiser for NICU for St. Luke's, and they had a record $1,036,000 that they raised for the NICU. So it's really exciting to note that for them. I also wanted to share, these are both videos from Kid for Night, just with the entrance with the smoke, and we made it was Superman themed. So they did kind of like camera system, which was really cool for the guests to enter. And then you'll see we have these pop-ups where we put some uniforms to make it look like superheroes. So our AV team really goes all out. Just love the look of this room each year, and it's always a different theme, so it's fun. So it's a huge dinner buffet with 932 people, dinner buffet, and then overall revenue for all the departments is around $138,000 Association of Idaho Cities annual conference. This is a conference of city leaders from across the state. We had 446 total room nights and overall between all departments, $108,000 revenue. WNN Mountain West Regional Gathering, thought it was worth mentioning. They had a board meeting here for the Welcoming Neighborhood Network. And so small board meeting, but they're looking at bringing a large convention here in the future. So it's always exciting to get one of those conferences. And then highlight Boise Center Green Initiatives. As mentioned earlier, we had the Curvit Awards from the city of Boise at champion level. And just really want to reiterate just how much our team's done to be more sustainable. They gave us the stat of the #1 glass recycling company in Boise, over 5,000 pounds of glass recycled. We just announced having an office recycling program too. So looking at all areas of how we can reduce waste. And so we're really seeing it. I'm really excited at the end of this fiscal year to kind of see where we land with just how much efforts we have done to, as rates have increased on waste, right? So being able to do what we can.
And I think our efforts for the champion award was about 6 months worth of it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we have, that's not even a full year of our
Yeah.
efforts, and we won a champion level, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Curvit Award. Yeah, that was only about 6 months. We started in August, and then they awarded us in March or April. So just a lot of room to still grow. We still meet quarterly, so there's going to be things will still continue. But one of the other initiatives is May in Motion. Not sure if you've heard of it. ACHD puts on companies can sign up, and they send you a link and track your team. Let's greener commute options. So like if they bike to work, if they ride, they scooter. And so it was a fun activity to engage our staff. There's a lot of Boise Center, Boise State students that come here. And so we have a lot of fun engagement with that and had a little celebration in May. But you can see some of the stats. It's our first year doing it, so we're just going to start off, and now we know a little bit more of what they do, but just another way to engage the team. So it's been a fun for the staff.
You won a silver level award, is that what?
Yeah, and the silver, that's Stacy Lisby and Amy, part of our Logistics team that went to the banquet. So we were honored with like a silver level for our initiatives and just being a sustainability committee. So just trying to, all areas to look at how we can be sustainable. And then just highlight some travel. Cody has led the Region 4 conference in Spokane, Washington, able to tour all the facilities that they have in the back of house. So that was really neat for our team, and as well as continue with our regional connections. I attended VMS with Matt Williams in Palm Springs for a week, which is a really, it's great for me to meet other people in the industry as well, learning and content they have there for venue managers. One of the connections I made is at the Salt Palace. And so we're gonna, the food and beverage team is gonna take a trip down and kind of see how they operate their food and beverage. I mean, they have $2 to $3 million worth of food and beverage for an event. So it'll be really fun for our team to be able to kind of compare of just what they do and larger venues. So had that connection from VMS. And then Ryan, our assistant manager, attended InfoComm, which is an AV heavy conference in Vegas. And so his takeaway was, Bluetooth capabilities is one of the future of how people get their sound from events, through headsets. And so looking to that future, as well as LED screens are just becoming more affordable. So how can we utilize those in the future? So it was a good conference for him to
The
attend.
Bluetooth is interesting because that's a lot of the events that you have hearing assisted devices. Now Bluetooth technology is no longer a one-to-one pairing. So they can have Bluetooth headsets that they come in and then they pair to the event. They can use their own. So it actually is opening up for hearing assistance across the industry. So it's kind of a cool piece.
Yeah. So just being able to be at these conferences really helps. So we appreciate the support. And IBM Venue Connect, Cody, I know a few of our staff will be heading to Indianapolis in a few weeks. I'll be attending IMAX. I'll be on my first sales trip. So I'm really excited to be in the trade booth and spend the week. I think it's Lori that will be with me on the sales team. And then, as I mentioned, the Salt Palace this fall. So our food and beverage team. Then I'll go through department updates. These are departments I oversee: operations, technical services, which is the AV, IT, food and beverage, and events. And then Allie will be presenting next month. Got AV put together a time lapse. This is the room transitioning from a Hope Gala, it's a 300-person banquet, to Idaho Catholic Youth Conference. So it's just really fun to see. This was, ICYC was an awesome event for the team. So huge stage, you can see they'll put massive pipe and drape. It was a whole general session room. So you can kind of see how the team works together to put this event put it together. And they used all of West and East. We served 1,500 box lunches, over 1,500 dinner buffets. So it was a really fun, high impact. And they had professional rappers that performed. We had concert sound in here. So really, you might not get a good full picture of it, but it looked like a concert hall. So it was a really cool event and obviously a huge impact, economic impact event. And then for ops, for the client survey feedback, as Cody mentioned, we switched from SurveyMonkey to Microsoft Forms, and Tyler, our BSA, he put together a template that now every time we get a survey, it will automate and have all the forms of each of the different questions that we ask each department. So this will automate. So this will be kind of look that I'll present moving forward. And the arrows resolve in how we did last year, how we finished. So this is halfway through the year. And then quality of service, I want to put the top because that's really something we can control. And we ask the same question for all departments. And so for ops, they are 5 out of 5. You can't really, over 50 client surveys, they are 100%. So I really wanted to say how awesome that was, or is that our team's continuing to meet the client's expectation. And then we've improved on a lot of these with restroom cleanliness was one that I've really been hammering some of the QR codes and helping. The team has just done a great job figuring out how to meet the client's expectations. So really proud of the team on these scores. We're also updating our linen process. So we're collaborating with Alsco. They're our vendor for linen and having a PAR system. So looking at how we can have a standard number of linens at a cheaper rate that just gets restocked. So our goal is really to reduce our staff's labor and ordering and how we can minimize extra linen on staff. So it's hard, we sometimes have a massive event and some small, but I think this system in place and they're willing to work with us is going to make that successful. And then staffing update, we promoted Brandon McCaughey to warehouse coordinator. This is a newer role, I think was here back in the 90s, maybe, but we have just seen an increase of shipping and receiving. And just with Amazon, you think about trade shows and moving stuff, loading dock from west to east. So this position is really going to help put it all together and work on the warehouse, which is our storage. So as we get more things, I'm really excited. And Brandy was our Rose Award winner. And so really excited that he gets to take this position. And again, this is we look for the future and make sure that we have this in place. And then we're at about 58 people in operations, which is increased from last year, but obviously it's been a busy year. Technical services was IT and AV. Really proud of the team. The client surveys feedback from compared to last year were higher in all 3 of our questions. And internet was one of the ones that has been some negative feedback from clients. So I'm really proud of our IT team to continue to find ways to really understand their bandwidth that they need for events. And so we've done a great job meeting the client's expectation. Our IT team was a huge help on the parking validation system. So really grateful that Boise Center pays 50% of our staff that park in the parking garages. This has been a huge heavy on the admin team to get through paychecks and picking up and having staff have to pick up parking passes at the front desk. And so now when a staff clocks out of their shift, they can just actually scan the ticket here. And then that gives that 50% discount and then they pay the rest on their way out. So this is just a way to eliminate admin and have real-time validation. So it was really cool to work with Boise Park Boy. We're the only one that is using this system, but it's their software for their garages. And so there was enough of us that are using it. So I'm really excited that they were willing to put this system together. We just purchased the iPads and they put the software in it. So it's so far been well received. So excited and thanks.
There'll be less visits to Anna's desk as well.
Big lift for the IT department.
I'll miss them though.
Yeah. Todd Baker, who was our director of technical services, did resign earlier this month. And so with that, I looked at replacing, but decided to restructure the department. We ended up going with the director of technical services and not having an IT manager. And with the amount of AI, technology, we're seeing AI actually impact our bandwidths when they're using it, and clients don't necessarily know that, right? When you're using generative AI, you don't understand how much that impacts. And so we're running into things where really this move to have an IT manager back was right. And we have a phenomenal employee, Puneet, that we promoted as an IT manager. So really excited for that team. And then we're at 33 people for this department, both departments. And the increase was really the part-time to about 150,000 more than we made last year at this point. So no full-time's been added, but getting our part-time enough to scale up when we need to. Then food and beverage, increased score in the quality of service and then overall selection and budget value. So it's great to see the courses scores be still really high, all high 4s. The holiday menu, we did update the look and some of the menu items. And so some of which I'm sure Mary Mike will talk about, the feedback from the website about being viewable better online. So we kind of switched the direction of the menu. And then just again, with our new director of food and beverage, Gary Mittner, has been, looking at the menu, and we're going to continue to update it yearly, just to make sure we're providing things for our clients that come back every year. And yes, that's a big staffing update with Gary. He's done a great job. He's been a great, really good culture fit, and just finding ways to take us to the next level. So I'm excited for him to go to Salt Palace to see, hey, what are other convention centers doing? Some of the bigger third-party companies. I think that's Sodesco. So really, really proud of him, and the team continues to do a great job. We promoted Scott Lively as a sous chef. And one of our former sous chefs went to the AC Element as a chef there. So really neat to see that growth, that he's been able to work here and then take on that big job at the AC Element. And then also having such a great team in place to be able to fill internal. And then Route 94, it's a little bit decreased from last year.
That actually seems like a pretty big decrease, almost 10%. Is there any reason for that?
Our team does a really good job of just making sure that we have the right amount per how busy we are. So if you look at how less our events we have in June, a lot of our students, they'll not be here for all the summer, then they'll come back and re-sign in August. So we have a lot more part-time in food and beverage.
Okay, so it's more seasonal,
so-
it's not tenured.
Yeah,
team
it's
members.
mostly on that part-time basis, and it's a lot of the strategies, and I think Gary has some influence into that, is how many we keep on. If you keep too many part-time, you can't give enough hours, you might lose them a little quicker. So I think shrinking that down and offering more hours might be part of the strategy there, but it's kind of a flux from each year to year of how many we have on. Sometimes we'll just protect ourselves and have a lot of part-time on call from the Boise State student side. That's why I say that 9.4 probably isn't really anything other than just strategically giving people a little bit more hours and shrinking down that part-time base.
And we'll wait to so with school ending, we'll wait to hire people in August all of a sudden, because right now we have 2 bars in July, I think. And so when we are so slow, it's really hard to keep that part-time. So my number a little bit showing June can be different. Some students, they'll actually go home for the summer and then they'll come back if they're students, and they come back in August. So that could be why, my number's a little bit lower, but they do a great job with our margin. I mean, we have the right amount of people, and they do a great job being able to take the highs and lows for food and beverage. And then events, we just switched from using Social Tables, which is a diagram software system, to Event Draw. And so I included a picture. This is a picture of East, an example of Boise Center East, and what's nice about Event Draw is it's a more accurate layout. So it's a CAD drawing. You can see in Brown 400, you have the service hall. And so we're noticing it being a little bit more accurate than Social Tables. And then there's also a layering system component where you can click a button and it can be set up like max capacity theater, max capacity, and work off of a layering. And so it's been really a great switch from Social Tables. And one of the reasons we went to this is that we're looking at how we can integrate with Momentus, which is our event software system, to create work orders from maps. So another automation where we build this map, and then it will kick out how many exact tables we need. So 20 tables, 30 chairs, and create the work orders for our team. So event managers are the ones that work with the client. They make this event and make these layouts. So excited for that. I think that'll be a great improvement for the team. And then they continue a great job, 4.95 on the quality service, a little bit down on the coordinated event plans, but overall still really high fours. And then I just highlight a couple of capital projects since January. We just completed a screen hang points. So we've been hanging our screens attached to a T-bar where the ceiling tiles go, and the wear and tear, just kind of looking at something that can be a little bit more secure. And so Valiant Integrations work with us to actually have the hang points go to the ceiling. So this was really a safety, but also will allow us to hang quicker. There's only 2 points based on the load bearing. We were doing 4, so even hanging the screens now. So we have 42 hang points, and we can be flexible. So what's nice is that these are all, if you only rent 100A, B, we did a heat map. So these hang points are all around the room to make sure we can still hang and provide that level of service to the team. So that was a really big project. Shout out to Amber, who's really been instrumental in getting this changed. And then CAD drawing just kind of goes around with the ballroom ceiling. When we did the LED lights, just working with the architect to make sure it's all mapped out exactly what the ceiling has and all the connections to it. And then permanent projectors in room 420. So this is the only really one of the only rooms that makes sense to have permanent projectors, as you really want to face the windows when you have an event in there. And we were running into just tables in the way where the projector is. And so if you go in there, you'll see that they're hung up to the ceiling. This is going to help us maximize the room in a way that is, you know, not having to have a table in there. And these projectors are really big and they're really nice projectors that help as that room is really bright. And so to have these projectors in there is really key. So that just got installed. So we're hoping that just improves that space and then less labor of moving around a projector screen as well. And then, all right, large capital projects on deck. So these are the big, as you saw with the capital, these are big capital projects that we still have coming for 2026. So we have banquet chairs scheduled for October. We've had some delays because of fabric. So, I mean, it's 3,700 chairs that we're ordering. And so as you can see, there's just a little bit of a lag in that. So we're hoping it's October, but MTS has been great. So it's the same chairs that we have in our building that have really done well fabric wise, but you know, the color is going to match a little bit more of where we've gone to more of a gray cone. So that's an example of what the chair will kind of look like. It'll be a more modern, like top part of the straight edge versus the circle. And then the big difference for operations team is the chairs we currently have are 20 pounds. These will be 15. So when you think about moving lots of weight, one table has 10 chairs, that's 50 pounds less that these chairs will be. So really excited to get these. You are very eager, so hopefully it doesn't get delayed anymore. And then we're also purchasing new racks that need to fit these chairs because they're a little bit different size. And those will help that warehouse storage. And then the kitchen dishwasher in West is end of life and has also had some issues. So the new dishwasher will be a Champion, will come first week of August. This also has different regulations on it, the temperature of the sanitizing. So really excited this will achieve more consistent sanitizing temperature, which, as you know, with the culinary team, the kitchen is like the number one of the most important equipment in the kitchen. So really excited for this to come on board. And then east window replacement, the install date will be the end of August. Flynn won the bid for this project. Be a couple weeks, you'll see some 6-foot fences on the Grove Plaza. We're making sure Buffalo Wild Wing, all the other neighboring know that this is happening, the market, but just as awareness, you know, it's going to take up a footprint and hopefully get slower as they install all 72 windows to replace glass.
What's the timeline for the install?
Think I can look at it tonight. I think it's like August 11th through the 25th. It's about 3 weeks.
Pretty fast.
Yeah, so, you know, working with the city, it's like maybe what's it called, the market, 3 Saturdays. And the hope is they'll do like 6 or 8 windows a day. And so the footprint might shrink a little, but they're using a lot when you think of like the garbage and all the lifts. And so we want to make sure it's also safe.
Is that affecting Alive After 5?
We're gonna make sure.
It's after.
It's after.
So their last one is this next Wednesday, I think.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, that was.
We tried to just not disrupt.
And then just some more objectives for 2026. With us replacing view glass windows, we are looking at blinds for the east, second, 4th floor. So that project's happening. Permanent drape blinds, so similar to the screen hang points. We're looking at doing. We're in the process of installing permanent hang points or pipe and drape on the west side of 100. So it's a lot of times we're always hanging a lot of drape there anyway. So that's one of the reasons to identify. Also, in safety won't be to the T-bars, will be to the ceiling. And then we're hoping to also help our team be more efficient. So we're trying just one wall to see how that goes. And then technical services, hired a consultant for the spoke light replacement. It's about 10 years for the spoke light. And we are no longer able to purchase the Martin lights on that wall. And so we've hired, his name's Dan Byers, and he owns his own company called New American Public Art. He spent 10 years doing art activation in Boston. And actually connection with Amber at Jump is where he works. This is like his side gig, and really excited. He just having the knowledge of outdoor lights and what works in heat, you know, how tall should it be with what equipment we have to access it. So we have to bring in a lift just to access some parts of it. So really excited to have his expertise help guide us of how to make sure we activate the space and make it something exciting. And so I'm excited to have it.
Clarity.
I was gonna say, what is this?
So I was looking at that. So this is the lighting that's on our south spoke.
Sure.
So when we were building the expansion with the bridge across.
Mhm.
One of the asks from the city and CCDC was, hey, can we activate the spoke a little bit more because we were taking away taters?
These are the vertical lights.
Correct, yep.
Got it.
So we activated the South Spoke as part of kind of that red, like 2020 or 2016 Grove Plaza renovation. Now they're 10 years old. They're getting to the point where we can no longer replace them. So we need to do something different. So we've always really just saw that as a cool way to activate the South Spoke. So we're going to kind of get something new and fresh, and we'll present that to the board.
Great.
Yeah, sorry about that. Make sure I'll put a picture. And then food and beverage exploring in front of house buffet equipment labels, and just to really elevate the presentation of our food and beverage. And then events teams gonna look at SOPs and make sure we're up to date. So I think I got any questions?
It's really thorough, and I just applaud you for giving such close attention to the customer feedback that every single little nuance of a 0.01 element of feedback is addressed already in your forward thinking and immediate needs. So
There's nothing lower than a 4.6 in those scores too, which is incredible to see. So it's
So
just,
the ways that Tyler, and I really shout out to him because he is able to make this automated, so I'm not having to kind of like, I can just see all the, going back to 23, took all the data from some Survey Monkey. So I can look and see, and we are, I mean, it's almost, we're so close to 5 that it's like, that there's only one way to go down, but we're gonna keep it that, but he has it color coded that like 4.6 is yellow, red, like if it hit those, but it was all green, so even having some of those, so.
it's got some like automation. So if we hit a low score, we'll get an email. So it's got some really cool features that Survey Monkey didn't even have. And we're saving, like I said, $5,000 just on a renewal contract. And we're getting the same, if not an improvement.
Yeah, so really, yeah, this is just a great, you just have such a great team here, so I'm really grateful for all of them.
Does anybody respond real time, like during the events, or is it all?
These are sent after they over. So these are sent, there's the stuff that we have that's real time would be like bathroom issues or stuff that she's got some survey stuff out there that would notify us if there's an issue in the bathroom or something like that.
Yes, yeah. Thanks, Julie. Thank you.
Good job.
Cliff and Mary Michael.
Talk is fast.
I know.
I took a note, slow down.
I was like texting, slow down.
Hurry up and listen, that's what I say.
That's how all my first board reports were, guys.
Yeah.
2.1 speed.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and members of the board. We're excited to be in front of you today and share a lot of new information. Our last update with Mary Michael and Ally and myself is in the fall. So a lot of our goals and objectives were looking forward and very anticipatory based on the fact that we had several new RFPs to launch, and we were in a period of change. Our agency, Warren Lassen, was retiring, and we were doing an RFP for a new agency. So I'd like to do just a little quick recap on some of the things that we've completed thus far. We completed our entry maps. So on each of the doors around Boise Center West, you'll see a new series of maps that are like, you are here, to help guide people to either to east or west. We had received a lot of feedback, and we work with operations to get that issue addressed of trying to get people to the right place. And even though we still have the sandwich signs, we still have other signs, we decided that affixed signs would also be helpful. So those have been installed. We did award our RFP for creative and agency services, and that was awarded to Mitchell Palmer. We've been very busy with Mitchell Palmer and keeping them very busy. We started off with a number of discovery sessions just so they could know our history. They could see where we have been and what we've done on the creative front, and some of the messaging that we've done, some of the branding, the trade shows. I mean, everything, we've given them everything to look at and to kind of evaluate. As a part of this process, we asked them to do a brand review, to look at everything we're currently doing and how can we do it better? How can we do it different? How can we do it smarter? How can we save money? Where can we improve what we're doing? We feel like we've got a great history. We feel like we've been on the right path and talking to the right audience, but we just wanted to be reassured and look at some of those details in a very severe critique, if you will. We've asked them to review and look at our website, and Mary Michael will dive into that particular topic in just a few minutes. So that because we're going to be launching a new website and creating a new website, we really wanted them to take apart our website. They looked at our sales brochures, they looked at our ads, they really did look at all of our campaign pieces that we are currently using and have used in the past. We asked them to look at our media plans and to really scrutinize our media plans, how we're spending our money, where we're spending our money. Is this the right audience? Well, of course, being in the trade publications, you think, well, this has got to be the right audience. Who else would want to know about convention centers? But the strategy and the information that came back was helpful to us because it allowed us to say, hey, this is the right audience. This is what we're doing, but maybe we should transfer some of that traditional media into digital. And so we have taken that consultation and those advice pieces and put them into play. And we'll kind of highlight that through this presentation and also through Mary Michaels. And then we're also rolling out some new creative. We really asked them to help us with that, help us to maybe come up with a slogan, to maybe help us tell people who we are. We did feel like we asked them to help us identify ourselves a little bit better. How do we describe what Boise Center is? If that's a confusing point where it doesn't say Boise Convention Center, it's Boise Center with a French spelling that helps us how do we tell everyone that we're not a shopping center? And so really we asked them to look at that and help us with that. And we also asked them to do a complete and comprehensive review and really a consolidation of our marketing plan. We do annually, we do a sales, marketing, and communications plan. It's been about 60 pages. We've actually boiled it down to 2.
Yes.
And so we, like you said, at the conclusion of this meeting, well, I will be sharing a copy with you.
Thank you.
So in answer to who we are, we've actually added some wording to our logo. And our new logo will look like this. It will tell viewers, readers, whoever's seeing this logo, what we do. And so basically it's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's not rebranding to the point that it's different enough, but yet it's adding a touch of information that will help a meeting planner zero in on who we are and what we do. So this is being rolled out. You'll see it in our print ad here in just a second, but moving forward, you'll see this conventions and events being highlighted on our materials. We've come up with a slogan. Our slogan is "Plan on it." You'll see how this is applied because our audience is meeting planners and event planners. We want them to know that they can count on us and they can plan on it. Scribbles. We have some new creative elements, and this is a fun part of the campaign that Mitchell Palmer helped develop for us. So you think, well, what is it? Well, obviously they're highlighter marks. And so what is the planner doing? They're in their planners, they're in their calendars, they're in their proposals, and they're highlighting things and they're marking things and circling things to help them zero in. And we're going to use those same little doodles to help focus in and drill in on our messages.
Does that really help people's planners look?
Mine. Just before I show you the ad, I want to show you some of the creative and some of the headlines that we'll be using in our advertising, both traditional and in digital. So even things like, seamless logistics, plan on it. A space for every kind of meeting, plan on it. Best conference food ever, plan on it. Event planning with ease, plan on it. So it reassures the planner that we're making a statement and they can plan on it. It's almost like we guarantee it. But we want them to plan on it. When they come to Boise, we want to reassure them that we have the right size spaces, that we offer seamless logistics, that we're event planning with ease. All those statements they can plan on. And so it's already upfront in their minds. We're behind them, we're with them, we're going to activate their event, we're going to be there through the process, and they can plan on it.
So where are the 120 plus restaurants?
They're in downtown, they're in the 5 to 10 block
cool.
radius. We fact
I
checked
just
it.
gotta get you to walk around.
I need to be more active in my lunch choices, so, okay, cool.
Visit Boise has a lovely menu sheet that has them all listed, so I'll be happy to send that to you. This is our half-page print ad, and this is how all these elements do come together. So we have a new logo, we have a headline, we have very basic copy that is going to help assure them of who we are, what we do, and how we're going to do it. We can have them assured that they can plan on it, and then we're adding into our print QR code. So that's a very new element that will take them to our website that will allow them to get more information, but it will also help us with the tracking. So that's one thing that we haven't had in the past, is that ability to track. And so we're really excited about that particular component as well. As we develop this new look, this is a sample, a few pages of our new branding and sponsorship guide. So we're taking the highlighter scribbles, we're taking the photos, we're taking those elements and just aligning it into a new design and new look. So Mitchell Palmer also did a branding guide for us that identifies colors, that identifies fonts, that identifies usages and everything. So it's really a great tool that they have put together for us. So it's really anybody that all departments can help kind of be aware of all those specifics as we're building things. Our upcoming projects that we're working on with Mitchell Palmer include, we're working on an updated AV guide. We have one, but we're now putting it into the new look and the new design. In addition to the new sales brochure, maybe I have that picture coming up, I think, because I readjusted the slides, but maybe when I emailed an old version. Sorry about that. So in addition to the new sales brochure, we'll have a sales proposal that will mirror this whole new look and the whole plan on its design. A capacity chart, same thing, more of a refresh. Website Mary Michael will address, but that is currently underway. That will incorporate all the things that I've been mentioning, as well as we're investigating a new front and center catering menu to be in the same look and feel, so that when we launch the new website, all of our pieces fit. It's not going to be, oh, that's from this agency, or oh, that's the old version, or it's all going to be looking and feeling like it belongs to us. They've just finished the new we've done a new technical services guide. It's a small brochure, trifold brochure that will allow the AV department, when they're on tours with meeting planners, they can just, hey, these are the services we offer. Very simply, and just a tool that we haven't had that we now have to be able to sell our services. This is the new sales brochure, still being edited and fine-tuned, but we'll be calling it the Boise Center Welcome Guide. This is a brochure with a fold-out that will be a tool for the sales managers and event managers to use to basically introduce Boise Center, a map, a flight map, basic information about our services, and and then some graphics there along the bottom that are just highlighting different numbers of room numbers and those kind of things. And our price of coffee is still our #1 selling point. So we got to include that. We're continuing our traditional advertising. Mary Michael will highlight digital in just 1 second, but here's kind of what third quarter looks like. These are the publications that Mitchell Palmer has assured us that we are in front of the right audience, and we're messaging the way that we should be. Coming in the fall, we'll have same publications, and each of these do have components with them, either an e-blast, a newsletter, an article. They'll have something to feature Boise Center and or Boise that will help us tell more of the story rather than just placing in that. Some of our upcoming projects on the marketing side will be our sponsorship planning, our budget, our annual reviews, our marketing plan and sales plan and communications plan. Now that it's down to 2 pages, we'll have that tomorrow. And we will be hiring for our communications coordinator position. We did hire that earlier this year. It was a situation that just didn't work out, so we're opening that back up and seeking another candidate. Any questions so far? Mary Michael has all the good stuff, so stay tuned.
I'm curious, Cliff, after going through the RFP process, and I know one of the challenges that we ran into was running into agencies who thought they had struck gold with some of their spec ideas, and you were like, this has been used before, this has been used by us before, this has been used, 1,000 times. Do you feel like some of the nuances that they've come up with, like Plan On It, are fresh and exciting for you to use as you go, or Ally, as you go and have sales conversations about the center?
I do. I think that they're the elements, especially like when you get into like the headlines and the copy. One of the other projects that they finished, and I didn't mention, but Mary Michael will be showing you, is a new video. Those kind of things. So you're gonna see some of the other creative pieces coming out. So we're still building it. I mean, it's still morphing as we're moving forward, but it does have legs. It does have something that we can use for several years. It's like I say, it's a new relationship. We're just really trying to get through the projects and
I applaud
give
all the
everything.
things that you've been able to accomplish, and I know it's been 6 months since they onboarded, but for those who don't work in a communications space, to identify a brand, to create an elegant solution where they're not proposing an entire logo that's going to cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars to put on the front of the building, that provides solutions for the sales team when they're going out and trying to convey what the heck the Boise Center is, to create fresh brand elements that are quickly adaptable for you to use now and aren't going to look dated in a year and a half.
And we can still use the old logo and the new logo together, because like I said, we don't need to change branding on,
Yep.
we don't need to reorder all new business cards or all new letterhead. We'll morph it as need be so that it's not a heavy lift on the budget.
Well, and with as large as of an organization as you have, to have a cohesive branding guide that every department can use and make sure that you're presenting your best foot forward to brand standards across the team is a great new tool. And I'm glad they've been so effective so quickly.
Thank you for your efforts on that. I think it's been helpful having you on that committee and helping out in the process of the selection. So thank you. Experience on the board continues to be great. So thank you.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board in person and virtual. I'm pleased to be here and talk with you for a communications, PR, and marketing recap. For our Zoom attendees, I'm Mary Michael Rogers. I'm the Assistant Director of Communications and Digital Strategy. This is a second quarter update. I oversee Boise Center's digital media campaign, and those are digital media ads that we use to build awareness, help tell our story, help grow brand awareness, and then drive traffic to our website. I have some key updates I want to give you and then talk with you about some industry trends. And some of these industry trends are going to seem familiar because our investment people talked about the inflation as well. So we started using digital media campaigns probably in 2018 or 19. And since then, they've been one of the strongest performing ad channels that we have. When we partnered with Mitchell Palmer, we do not use their services to buy media, but they are a media strategist. We have a private consultant who is our media buyer, who used to be with Drake Cooper. And so we've had that relationship, we've kept it, but those two entities did a media audit for us, a digital media audit, to look at where are you placing your ads? How much are you spending? What is your targeting? What is the creative? What do we need to replace in creative that's saturated? Both firms came back and said, we'd like you to refine your channel level investment to strengthen both awareness and performance. We did this. We essentially moved some money from a couple of pots into another pot. So we increased our YouTube investment for greater awareness and discovery among in-market audiences. And really, YouTube is a Google product, and Google has some of the most robust audience targeting capabilities that we can use. We look at job titles, we look at geographics, and we look for people who are buying products similar to Boise Center. We know their buying behavior. I don't say, personally, I'm not the big brother, but Google is the big brother. We reallocated funds from other channels. Those other channels, one is display, the other is native. We didn't entirely remove funds, we just took some funds from those. Our strategy is to increase reach, engagement, storytelling impact to scaling interest from regional and direct flight markets. Our ads are placed regionally and in Virginia and in Chicago. The campaign is optimized for conversions, and conversions for us are clicks on the website and then lead form submittals. So I'll get to that in just a moment and show you some of those results. Market conditions this year, before I get into show you our new ads, media costs have increased. So when we budgeted in August, September, we budgeted of what the media costs were at that time. Media costs have come up of the 4 channels that we use, which you see here, which is display, search, video, and native. The costs have come up 30% year over year. We're also bidding for optimizing for conversions, which is more costly. What's impacting this is inflation is one, and then AI is impacting another. AI overview that Google is now serving people AI overviews. When you search, best donuts in Boise, it's going to pop up that list for you to take a look at. You don't need to click on the website. You don't need to click on an ad, and that's taking away search traffic. So we're seeing fewer website visitors, and we're seeing fewer people click on our search ads. It's a big disruptor in the digital marketing world, but those are kind of some market factors to be aware of. So I will most likely, Cliff and I will come back to you and talk to you more about adjusting budgets for next year and what that will look like, but more on that later. We did work with Mitchell Palmer to rebrand our digital campaign. What you see here are display ads, which are banner ads. When you're on a website searching, you often will see these banner ads pop up. The display prospecting is your initial introduction to Boise Center, and we're saying Boise Center seamless logistics from keynotes to team building and everything flows. When you come to the site, we know you've been there, and so we're going to serve you a follow-up ad, and that's the retargeting ad. And we retarget by serving more about the destination because we know we've introduced you to Boise Center. We're going to follow up with a secondary message about Boise. So that we're using 2 retargeting. One is 120 restaurants within a half mile, or we should meet in Boise again. And then we also have filmed a new promotional video with Mitchell Palmer. And before we start that, I want to mention we had the opportunity in April, we hosted the Visit Boise, the Smart Meetings Innovation event, and it was a high-end industry event. We did an ad photo shoot and we filmed this video. We were really busy for the 3 days that they were here. So I'll let the AV team go ahead and start. It's a 30-second spot. And if your ads now, like 3 or 4 years ago, we would have been at a 60-second video. It's 30-second and 15-second, and some people have been doing 5 seconds, which seems
Attention spans are getting.
Every great conference comes down to one thing: confidence. Boise Center is the easy yes, a true one-stop shop for meeting and event planners. Exceptional in-house catering, made fresh and local. Dedicated in-house AV, IT, and tech support. And when sessions wrap, downtown Boise is right outside. Hotels, dining, breweries, bars, and shops, all walkable with outdoor breaks just minutes away. Confidence for your conference. Boise Center. Plan on it.
and it's performing very, very well. They're gonna make a quick switch here. We have a 15-second version that,
But it just runs twice as fast.
exactly.
Like the end of a car commercial.
And this is just a new native ads on the left that's meant to look like it. It's meant to look like content on a page and not distract you like a banner ad would. So a good example would be if you're reading a Wall Street Journal or you're reading the Statesman or you're on KTVB's website, you'll often see a native ad placed.
These trick me all the time. They get me all the time to clicking, because I think it's a news story.
We're good at it. These marketers are good. Boise Center has a space for every kind of meeting. And then the search ads on the far right. Search ads have been in the past our top performers. This year it's a little bit different, but search ads are Siri, tell me Boise Center or convention centers in the West in a search. Our digital performance overview year to date, we have by our, we actually have used 5 channels this year. We did a short social media ad campaign with Smart Meetings to build interest in their event. Search engine search ads, the display ads or the banner ads, native and video. We've seen, because we've adjusted to conversions and we've adjusted our spending, you'll see a huge jump in video ad impressions there.
2 million ain't bad.
And now, where are we seeing the benefits of this advertising campaign? Our paid media campaigns continue to drive the most traffic to the site, and that's been consistent for a few years now. It's the largest driver of traffic. Organic search has increased 16% year over year. This is a little bit of us breaking not the normal. We might see this declining with the AI, but because we're doing so much more video advertising, it's what our media buyer and myself in a positive realm are hopefully thinking more brand awareness, more brand recognition. So people are typing in Boise Center or they're recognizing the term and clicking on that. Ad conversions or event lead submittals on our website are a top lead source. In fact, this year they're trending in the first, and halfway through the year they're the first, but it's still early. It's only June, July-ish, so we want to get to the fall before I get super excited and have a party that we're celebrating. Overall, we have seen website traffic and sessions decrease. I want to paint a realistic picture, but let you know that our media buyers and Mitchell Plumbers that this is partly due to AI, partly due to inflation because we're not able to buy the ads that we were able to buy a year ago. Do I think it's harming us, the inflation, and not buying it more? We're monitoring it closely and we're monitoring conversions closely over this. And part of it is some of the work that we're going to be doing in the next few months to redesign our new website with major SEO and AI improvements on it. I think we'll see a big change a year from now from where we are. Engagement, we are seeing positive growth in our website engagement and metrics. So we've jumped up 15%. People are viewing an average of 2.72 pages when they're on our site. And the session duration has also increased 22% this year to 1 minute and 20 seconds. Our top website states and cities, Idaho, California, Washington, Texas, and Utah, that's very consistent. And then Boise, Seattle, Los Angeles, and that Ashburn is actually Ashburn, Virginia. So it's nice to see that we're seeing that traffic right in a city that we want to be. We want to be in the Virginia. We want to be in that.
Mike has a question about why Virginia.
I was
It's
just
where a lot of the associations are headquartered, right? And so you're reaching to the association management.
And it's not perfect. It's on IP addresses and Google metrics, so it's Ashburn adjacent probably.
DC too. DC is also kind of in that area, so yeah.
This next bigger project that we started working on with Mitchell Palmer in January is we are redesigning and redeveloping our website this year. We started on this project in January and we'll finish in November. But I wanted to walk you through this process, but I'll do it in an abbreviated fashion. I think you're going to find this interesting. One of the first things that Mitchell Palmer did was a website discovery, which is kind of a deep dive in four areas of your business, so to speak. The first thing they did was ask us for if we could provide some customers' names for them and contact information to interview about their experiences finding our website, using our website, their likes and dislikes. So Mitchell Palmer interviewed 3 of our current customers, 2 non-customer event planners, so 2 people who haven't booked our product before. The customers that they interviewed were a convention planner, one that's happening this fall in October, a public show event owner and planner, and that person's a CEO and has a big show here every year, and then a corporate meeting planner, sourcer/sourcer. The interviews were conducted by an outside research firm, which I thought was good, impartial. The goal was to really understand how do they find the site, how do they use it, and what improvements can be made. The other area that Mitchell Palmer delved into was analytics review, SEO audit, and our competitive analysis. All of these were really interesting, but I do want to take a minute to share with you a few quotes, because I know many of you are involved in some of you are involved in the event business and you have a keen interest in Boise Center. You know, nothing is more humbling than when you ask your customers for feedback, right? It can be And luckily, this was not painful, but there were some things that really hit home for us. One of the first quotes in the feedback was, "What is it?" It needs a clear above the fold statement that Boise Center is a full service convention and event center. Is it a shopping center? Is it a city center? What is it? Another quote, "Price indicators, a starting from range would reduce friction without committing to a figure." Right now, we had gone to the philosophy kind of in COVID with all the supply chain fluctuation and market prices and different things, not having menu prices on our site, but we also don't have AV price at different ranges, so. Another thing that really came to light is destination appeal. People who have never been to Boise don't realize how pretty it is. And that the venue consideration and the destination consideration are really happening simultaneously. And some of that is because of the new way people are sourcing, and that's through AI. And then everything is digital and going to your website, as they always have 9 times out of 10 before they've ever made contact. But you can, there's a few, I won't read all of these in the time, but it was enlightening. And if you want a copy or more information, I'm happy to share it. But they did have some really good things to say about the site. The current resources section is gold, they said, and just loved it, absolutely loved it. In key findings, this is what we came back with after this audit. In comparison to competitive websites, we need to really put the audience, meaning the planners, the exhibitors, and the attendees, find themselves in the navigation. So we're changing some of the headings on the website designed to be planners, exhibitors, attendees. Each of them we're changing to hover navigation versus clickable navigation, much more intuitive. The content, you'll see why Boise Center and why Boise on the same page. So we're giving destination stats about flights and hotels, restaurants within walking distance. You'll see this incorporated in a much more consolidated fashion where now you need to click through multiple pages. We plan to implement SEO content optimizations, and some of that is through meta tags, metadata, image optimizations, and different things to really optimize our content as much as possible. Through the interviews with our customers, we really called out that our in-house services, our in-house catering, audiovisual, and IT is a huge value for a person planning a conference because they don't have to sign multiple contracts and work with multiple vendors for those services, and that our costs are lower than what they might find in a Salt Lake or a Seattle. So we're going to put that as a unique value proposition. And then we're also doing some extra work on the AI SEO to develop some specific content for AI platforms so we will rank higher in queries and in search results. We'll increase our AI search visibility and traditional search performance through this work. And this is in addition to, it's happening at the same time, but it is in addition to. And when will we get to see this new website? We're starting the first phase of this design and development next week. And then the phases continue about every 2 to 4 to 6 weeks through the end of November. So I'm anticipating we will have this new site. We've asked them to launch it by the end of November so we can count it in the capital budget for this year. So I'm optimistic right now that we'll stay on track. It looks like we'll stay on track. Cody's smiling at me, like I'm gonna twist my arm to stay on track. But Mitchell Palmer does almost all of the work in-house. They do work with some outside developers, but we won't get to the design phase until about 4 to 6 weeks in. We do a lot of content analysis on the early side. And my last slide before I'm happy to answer any questions. I promise I haven't neglected our current website. It's had some love this year. We've made some changes to our website homepage, and I'll actually go back because with the new concept and the ad design, I realized after looking at those new ad concepts, it was a big abrupt change going from our old ads and the look of the current website to the new ads. So we've morphed and have kind of updated this website cosmetically. The Easy Yes video is now on the homepage. We've updated the taglines in several places so they match the current ad campaign. And then those are all homepage upgrades. And then the last thing that we have done is we invested, when I say we, Boise Center and the board invested, partly last year and this year, we have a new 360 tour of Boise Center. And it lives on our floor plan page, and it's been a great addition. It's a new virtual tour, but they're 360 tours, so you can click and pivot and move through the building. It starts on the Grill Plaza, and you can choose to go into West and look at the main lobby, look at room 100. It tells you ceiling height, loading dock, different things. Look at room 130. You can go up to the concourse, over to East. You can go into room 420 and see the view. So if I was considering booking a holiday party, I can look in that room as well. And then due to the beauty of technology, this tour also is on Visit Boise's tour, because Visit Boise invested in the hotel walking tour. Well, our tour lives on theirs as well. They're together. So if you're considering booking a convention and working with Visit Boise, you can tour Boise Center on their site as well. And the last thing that I've updated, our photo gallery has many new event and room photos, because we recarpeted so much in West this year and we recarpeted East last year. When you look at that gallery, there's about 30 to 40 newer photos that are there. So that was a big ask from people who are using that site, is they want to see as many up-to-date photos as possible. So we're happy to keep them coming. And just want to say thank you for all the opportunities to do this work, to do the digital media and do the website analysis. I'm happy to answer questions.
Any questions?
No, I just think it's all wonderful.
I just want to recognize the team today for their presentations, but I just wanted to also highlight our successes are not by accident. We have an outstanding team. I almost get a little emotional when I say it, but thank you guys. I truly mean that. The success of the Boise Center, and we continue to see it, is on the backs of these people that do really great work for us. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, and then item D, once again, we are not meeting item D because
Taken care of.
we got it all taken care of, right, with the title companies, so we meet for item D. So with seeing no other business before the board, the meeting is adjourned.
Yeah.
Blowing up my house.
I do